So we're back again with Dower Digital, and for the real historian, for the real person with a passion for investigating history, understanding the tides of history, we can find so many gems when we investigate local history, global history, ancient history, modern history. Now, as you can see from behind me, we're here at the Maritime Museum here in Greenwich in London. And probably the Maritime Museum is very interesting in a sense that it says something about Britain and how Britain has developed into the power it was and the power it is today. Because perhaps like any other empire before it, the British Empire was created, maintained, sustained on its maritime power. And just two very interesting bits of history. We all know that today China is back in possession of Hong Kong. But who did it take it back from, considering it's part of China? Well, we know that just over 150 odd years ago, that the British East India Company went to war in China to force opium on the Chinese people. Yep, that's right, you got it correct, to force opium on the Chinese people. And they went to war not just once, but twice, forcing opium on the Chinese people. And as part of the indemnity that the Chinese Empire had to pay back to the British at that time, they gave a 100-year lease to Britain that allowed them commercial access into mainland China and gave them access into controlling much of the mercantile business that was coming through the Orient and the Asian countries. Now, another interesting aspect about the British East India Company is that one of the main shareholders in the company was Queen Victoria. So the next time that you're watching Netflix and they're talking about Pablo Escobar and narcos and stuff like that, and you hear about the exploits of modern drug barons, remember something very interesting. As I said, the British East India Company forced opium on the Chinese people, which is an indirect product of producing heroin. So what I'm saying is that before we mention Pablo Escobar as a drugs baron, we have to remember Queen Victoria was the world's first drugs baron. And that's just an interesting fact of history.